Welcome to this week's video. We're just about to get into the stock side of things of the S&P 500. As you can see here, we have a nice expanding fan type pattern. So this pattern gets more volatile as these lines get retested. And as we can see here, this downward stubborn support line has been retested very nicely with pin bar after pin bar after pin bar. So it is getting respected quite well. And we have a bit of rejection up here. So there is a good chance we could revisit, 2920 sort of level before seeing any resistance. Now, this is on the 4-hour chart. If we jump up to the daily, you can see the tweezer bottom here. Very, very nice to see. However, only one thing to sort of keep in mind is this was a Friday candle, and that means that anyone who's been shorting this over the past few days will look to cover over the weekend in case there's any news like from Trump over these tariff news and with China and everything. So that's one thing to keep an eye on, because if those deals fall apart and the negotiations and everything, this market could also fall apart slightly, depending on what is said and by whom. So it's one of the things you need to keep a really close eye on. Always manage your risk appropriately. And yeah, let's move on to the volatility index. As you can see, this powered up with the S&P sell-off, and then as the S&P started to rebound, volatility started to die off. So people started shorting this again, and yeah, just one of those things to keep a really close eye on in this sort of market environment. And it's good, you can get some really good trade opportunities both on the long and short side. Oil, really nothing happening here. It's just been up, down for the past week. So there's no clear direction as to what's going to happen. Feels like it's just sitting there waiting to do something, and I have zero ideas to what direction this will look to go. Because we've broken out of this, it did look like it was starting to weaken to the downside, but it stayed there. So it's one of those things too. If you don't see any edge, don't trade it. Lithium, tweezer bottom, similar to what the S&P's on. There is a slight correlation between the likes of lithium, uranium, and a few other markets. So if we look at uranium quickly, you can see it's doing something very similar. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Keep an eye on. This one has been contained still from January of 2018. Very annoying, but patience is required, I think, on this one. And yeah, we just need a lot more volume and a lot more momentum in order to take this market higher. We really need to break this 34 level in order to attract a lot more attention to this market. Now, to go on to Bitcoin very quickly, over the past week, this thing has just rocketed all of a sudden. I don't know if there's any real reason behind it, but was there any real reason behind this one? Not really, just the FOMO type action. It just feels like a little bit of FOMO here as well. So I have in a resistance line of 7,400, and the reason, as you can see, it's been tested here and here, here and here. It's the first level of resistance here. So if for example, the weekly momentum dies down, we could start to pull back into the 6K level, if not slightly lower to the 5K level. Now that we've got up here, I don't really see us revisiting these lows, although it's still possible. I don't really see it happening. I think the most likely thing is there's a good chance we could actually head to 10K. I'd say there's a 60% chance due to the momentum, the volume, and the way these sort of bars happen. You see these happen before. They're like FOMO bars. We could start to see 9K, possibly 10K, and everybody comes flooding back in. And that's when things start to fall apart again. And then we could reverse quite heavily back down into this zone. Now, another scenario is we could just stop here and then start to filter back down, like I said, back into this area, and then meander, maybe drift lower, pop in and out, and after a few weeks, months, start to head higher again. So one to keep a very close eye on. This one's starting to get a lot more attention now, which means also with our stocks, we have a portfolio of stocks that we keep an eye on as well. We'll go over one of them in a second. Ripple, it's really lagging behind as per usual. Remember back in 2017, all of a sudden then it'll start to take off. Will it happen again? Who knows? But you know, previous price action does sort of tend to suggest that. But there's not much else to go over in that one. Let's see, gold. Gold is retesting this neckline as resistance. So remember, we were covering this many weeks ago, a few months ago. If this pattern was to play out, you know, we could see back to 1230s-ish again if the head and shoulder pattern was to play out nicely. So apart from that, not much else. Already covered that. OSTK was sort of the stock of the week, and this one is quite nice. If we zoom back, going back to 2013-ish, we can see it is in a zone of support. So buyers are looking to step into this area. You know, as you can see here, buyers would start to buy here, they start to buy here, started to buy here and here. So with Bitcoin move that happened in 2017, this one has yet to follow. Or sorry, this stock has yet to follow it, and it mimicked it quite almost perfectly with a topping pattern here and then the sell-off. Now, it has not matched it in its correlation over the past few weeks. It has popped higher since here with Bitcoin. So this one seems like it's lagging behind quite a bit. And yeah, it's one to keep a really close eye on. It's one been covering in the blog post. And yeah, there's certain opportunities we're looking for in this one as well. So hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.